Hello guys, it's your fellow investor here with another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about Gevo, which for past 5 days made about 95% move, so it's a really huge move. And today we're gonna be talking about what they do, what is their mission, why the stock moved up so drastically, and if it's going to be pump and dump scenario or if it's going to be sustainable growth in the future. So first let's start with the latest news, why it is today up almost 60%. The news make it quite simple because Gevo announced today that Frances H. Arnold, a Nobel Prize recipient at Gevo's co-founder, has been named to President-elect Joe Biden's science team. The science team is tasked with marshalling the force of science to drive meaningful progress in the lives of people. The science team will help the Biden-Harris administration confront some of the biggest crises and challenges of our time, including climate change. Patrick R. Gruber, the CEO of Gevo, said, "This appointment is well deserved. Gevo has benefited from Professor Arnold's outstanding work in developing enzymes crucial to our technology. Gevo has used science to create technology that has established Gevo as a leader that transforms renewable energy and carbon into energy-dense liquids that have potential to achieve a net zero greenhouse footprint when used as drop-in fuels for transportation and other uses. Gevo looks forward to playing its part in reducing greenhouse gas emissions." I will just use this here on the finance because it just summarizes very well what does Gevo do. So Gevo has a mission to transform renewable energy into low-carbon transportation fuels. This next generation of renewable premium gasoline, jet fuel and diesel fuel with the potential to achieve zero carbon emissions, addressing the market need of reducing greenhouse gas emissions with sustainable alternatives. Gevo uses low-carbon renewable resource-based carbohydrates as raw materials and is in an advanced state of developing renewable electricity and renewable natural gas for use in production processes, resulting in low-carbon fuels with substantially reduced carbon intensity. Gevo believes that its proven patented technology enabling the use of a variety of low-carbon sustainable feedstocks to produce price-competitive low-carbon products such as gasoline components, jet fuel and diesel fuel yields the potential to generate project and corporate returns that justify the build out of the multi-billion-dollar business. So here we have really in a nutshell what Gevo does, what are the products and what is behind their name, what is their mission. But now let's peek into their investor presentation to see more in depth how they've been doing, what are their goals, what is their total addressable market and all that good stuff. I'm gonna be using investor presentation from January 2021, so it's really up to date. It's, I don't know if 2 weeks old or something like that. It's really fresh, so we have the latest information here included. Here we go into more detailed information about what they do. Their business overview is that they are headquartered in Inglewood and they're founded in 2005. The facilities overview: they have Net Zero 1 in Lake Preston is going to be built. The hydrocarbons are expected to have a net zero GHG footprint across the life cycle, which is just huge. And the jet fuel and gasoline plant in Silsbee, Texas, it's operating since 2011. It's producing jet and isooctane for gasoline. And of course their corporate headquarters in Englewood, where they have offices and labs. Here we can see a lot, and I mean a lot, of customers, partners and agreements in the right corner. This is just like a quarter of the screen. It's just amazing to see with how many companies they are working with, US Air Force, BP, Atlas Air, Virgin. Here is a very good slide to represent about the global greenhouse emissions by sector. As we can see that 73% comes from energy and global CO2 emissions from transport. With each year there is just a bigger fear of the global warming, the global climate change, and there's the growing concern that something must be done, and their mandates and climate pledges are rising. There's continued consumption of fuels, which equals to more CO2, and there are record levels of CO2 in the atmosphere, and overall it's just all comes to Gevo, which has a solution to help the atmosphere, help our planet, and just make our lives here better in the future. So as I said, their mission is to capturing renewable energy and transforming it into energy-dense liquid hydrocarbons. So we can see they get it from photosynthesis, renewable natural gas or wind power. They transform it into energy-dense liquid hydrocarbons, and then renewable energy becomes dropped in as a fuel to existing infrastructure and fleets, or infrastructure that already exists, allowing renewable energy to reach wide markets, store and transport. Its immediate significant carbon reductions and its net zero GHG footprint potential when burned to generate energy for transportation. So this is also really important to know. It's easy to store, easy to use, works with existing infrastructure and fleet. So what more do you want? There are no barriers. It's really user-friendly, and it only helps our planet. So as we know, it comes from solar electricity, biogas, photosynthetic energy, wind electricity, hydrogen. Then it goes into production and ends up in a storage tank of liquid fuel. Here we can see more in detail, or roughly detailed, how it works in their company. So they're using renewable carbon and energy to defossilize. And here we see on the picture, it's in the infographic, how it works. It's really easily shown, and I think everyone can make an image from that about the company and their system. There is a potential for 100% reduction in GHG emissions, and 100% of agriculture feedstock nutritional value is returned to the food chain, which is what we need, what we want, because there's going to be more and more people, therefore it's going to be more and more demand for meat. Even though there are vegetarians, there are vegans, still most of the people will be eating meat. Sustainable agriculture can drive carbon footprint lower. Total life cycle of hydrocarbons and impact of agriculture practice, as we can see on this picture. Agricultural improvements are practical and being done. Sequester carbon in the soil, higher yield and less input. So overall it's win-win, not only for Gevo but also for the people who own the land. Here we can see plenty of global certifications and transparency, which is always very good if you are looking into a company to see if they are somewhat verified. Market traction and growing demand for Gevo fuels. And this is what you want to see if their product is demanded. If not, it doesn't make sense to invest it or even swing trade it, because it has no potential. But here we can see that it has potential. The pie chart with many opportunities and sectors to capture value, and we can see Gevo's logo where they think they can capture the market. And as we can see, it's plenty of percent. It's plenty. It's a lot of percentage for one company. So if they could capture that in big percentage, it would be huge, and just immensely huge. So I'd like to end this presentation with some key highlights, which I haven't mentioned yet. Their intellectual property is valued over $400 million, which is not too shabby, and that there are long-term take or pay contracts in place with more developing, which means that they're strong players, and they have the money for development on the balance sheet, which is always good. Gevo has multiple routes to make money: license fees, operating fees, project management fees, equity ownership, etc. So of course they are really not short on money. I went into their site and looked into their news and found out that there's been a Koch project solution to execute Gevo expansion projects. That means that Koch will provide front-end engineering, design and project execution management services for the expansion projects that Gevo is in the process of financing with Citigroup Global Markets Incorporated. So as we can see, plenty of news, plenty of fundamentals. There's even more due diligence to be done. They're really well established. They've been here for almost 15 years, over 15 years actually. Their CEO is over 13 years with them, and it's possible I've missed something out. However, let's put a question here: is this stock still a buy? Well, with Biden's team and with their co-founder, with Gevo's co-founder being in Biden's science team, it is high likely that the stock will be doing very well in the next 4 years. However, now when the stock has done over 60% move today, there might be a big pullback coming tomorrow, or even today, there might be a little bit of pump and dump, but I might be absolutely wrong, and there might be BNGO scenario that the stock will just go parabolic up, like every day 50% at least for this week. We might see these two scenarios, in my opinion. This is all from my side. However, I will include a video from Gevo's CEO, which will give you even more insight about the company, and I think it's a must watch if you are interested in about this company. I want to know more. I recommend you watching it. Thank you so much for watching. If I brought you some value, definitely consider subscribing to the channel. I post almost daily videos of new content, and I hope you appreciate it. Also, by clicking on the thumbs up, it really helps me to push my videos on YouTube to more people, so more people can get more information about interesting topics. With that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Gevo is making hydrocarbon fuels. They're exact drop-ins, so it's jet fuel or it's gasoline product. Really, the thing that's the most distinguishing characteristic of all is its carbon footprint reduction.
We're bringing a story that the world hasn't seen before. Liquid fuels can actually make a difference.
Since Gevo is producing advanced renewable fuels, that means that we have to prove that those fuels are better than the petroleum equivalents that they're replacing. So to do that, you have to do the math. The biggest thing is that we have to be able to see the data so that we can quantitate it, so we can put the numbers to the page. We have started to certify our farmers to ensure that the practices that they're doing are sustainable.
We take those improved sustainability farm practices and use that in order to position our products that are made from their corn as more sustainable fuels.
So we want to be able to give that value back to you guys, and that's the entire purpose of this program.
We're just starting, and I look forward to getting your help doing it.
You know, we're looking at our carbon footprint and we're asking ourselves, what makes the most difference? It's the actual use of the fossil resources in our process.
We need gas as energy in order to make our products. Typically, we use natural gas to do that, but natural gas isn't a low carbon energy source. And so what I've been doing is signing up farms, large dairies, so that we can install digesters on those dairies, take all of that manure to eliminate that methane emission, and we're converting that into organic fertilizer and biogas. We take the biogas out of the digester, feed that into our plant to displace fossil-based natural gas.
When we're trying to reduce the footprint of our fuel products, one of the things we had to deal with is the electricity footprint. The electricity footprint off the grid here is partly coal-fired. That hurts us in terms of our carbon content, our fossil contributions, because it takes electricity to run a plant. But there's great wind resource here. So we installed a couple wind towers, and that displaces our electrical need. We're off the grid. So by taking care of the energy needs for this plant, taking care of the supply chain, working with farmers who have very good growing practices, we can go to very negative carbon scores for our renewable resource-based jet fuel, gasoline, and diesel fuel.